Merry meet and bright blessings, everybody. Lady Leeanna here with another edition of Wicca for today. And please allow me to be among the first to wish you a blessed Samhain, a merry All Hallows Eve, a happy Halloween, or a great All Souls Day. No matter what pathway of religion you're on or what culture you're from, I want to wish you the very best on this upcoming October 31st. And all the days that lead up to it, for that matter. For me, this has always been the best holiday. It always will be, I imagine. And I think that a lot of people agree with me, considering this holiday has transcended through the centuries, holding on to a great many of its traditional practices, its values, and its beliefs, probably more so than any other religious holiday that I can think of. And I'm just speaking on my own behalf, by the way, so hopefully not to offend anyone. It is a beautiful holiday indeed, and it started out a Celtic traditional holiday where it was all about the harvest, and also it was believed that the veils were thinner between the worlds on this particular night, and so the souls of the dead could make their way back to visit. It was also believed that the bad spirits could visit likewise. And for that matter, the Celts would send the druids out to the forest. The Celtic druids would go out to the forest and would try to appease the spirits by leaving offerings of food, so that they could feed these spirits, and perhaps these spirits wouldn't rebel out at them or wouldn't wreak the chaos that they were suspected that they would do. And when that didn't work, there were turnips carved out with evil, mean, and scary faces on them. Turnips in those days, not pumpkins. They would carve out turnips with mean and evil faces on them in order to act as totems to scare away all the dark and negative spirits that might try to seize upon them. Likewise, they would dance around the fires and wear masks to try to either hide themselves or blend in with the spirits that would walk, as well as if they got through the totems and got through the food that would be left at the edge of the forest, they would not see them. But I feel that these are all really beautiful rituals. But, I think my favorite is when they would set another plate at the table among their family for that soul that had been lost to come back and visit and eat supper with them that night. And they would likewise have a sweet potato extra within the fireplace roasting along beside that family's sweet potatoes, and a tin cup of whatever fluid the rest of the family were drinking along beside it. They were really considerate of their dead. They would feed them. They would revere them and uphold them. And I feel that these practices are still as intact today as they ever were. Even as the religious beliefs had transcended to move through many other religious pathways as well as cultures, it took with it a lot of its traditional values, its practices that it would perform, like feeding the dead, like honoring them, like scaring away the bad spirits. Alright, you guys, now I'm going to give you some suggestions on things that you really should concentrate on doing, even starting now, to prepare for Samhain night. You don't have to wait till that particular night. On some things, it's even suggested that you don't. Because that energy is already in the earth now. Okay? And these things that I'm fixing to give you are not only traditional in some cases, but likewise practical. And they're not only to help you have a funner All Hallows Eve, but also to help you be safe and to make use of all the magical energies likewise. So listen closely. You know, this information comes from the bottom of my heart, and you can take from it or leave it what you will. But a lot of people are not considering the energy that will be in the earth. We've just recently passed through the harvest, super moon, lunar eclipse, blood moon, all of that in a bag of chips. There is a lot of residual energy left in the earth and universe from that, no matter how new the moon became afterwards. You know, there is a lot of residual energy from that, and it will be only added to as all the pagan energy arises, and even your regular agnostic celebrational people. You know, all of this energy rising up in the earth and in the air from people, you know, along with that which the elements have put into it itself. You know, it's all there, and it's there to be used for good, but also could be used likewise for bad. The first thing I suggest to you to do is put together a good spell of protection. Protection not only from people that would cast on you purposely, but shield you likewise from dark or negative stray thoughts, from even people that love you but really are innocently throwing out a dark thought that could really amplify, even though they don't realize it, due to the elements that are in the earth right now, the energies that are surrounding us. You know, the most minute dark or negative stray thought can become magnificently large. You know, much more than that, you know, you have, if somebody is casting on you purposely, that crap is going to grow. And if you're more powerful at this time, so are they. And that's the one thing you need to consider. I have a particularly good spell work of protection on my channel that you should look at and follow, because it protects you from both kind of energies. You just have to be very specific when laying out that spell work and saying quite directly that if someone is casting on you purposely, let that return on them tenfold. If someone is just thinking of you darkly or negatively, let it fizzle out into the earth and be done away with completely, not to affect anyone any longer. You know, be very specific. Otherwise, you could hurt somebody that you don't want to. Okay? And that's the same with any magic. It's a loaded gun. You just have to know how to aim it. You also have to know how to load it and not be in front of it while you're doing so, you know. I mean, you have to be very careful with everything that you do. But this is a very good spell work of protection, and you need to do it now. It ain't only that the power of the earth and the universe is going to be strong on Samhain. It's already strong, and it's getting stronger, and it's going to get stronger, even still. And so do it ASAP. Okay, that's the first and foremost thing that you should do. Protection against people. Okay, and I will tell you that because the veils will be thinner on this particular night, there are spirits roaming freely. There are spirits of every kind. Your dreamweaver, your threadbearer, your reaper, your djinn, your everything. I mean, they're all roaming, and some of these love to manipulate thoughts of other people, feelings of other people, and the energies that people might share with each other, even if very bad, or especially if bad. Okay, and then cause a lot of grief between people, start fights, even, you know, kill people through these energies. And so these protections are very important to temper back and shield you from any of these darker negative thoughts or castings of others. Now, because of what I just said to do with the spirit world, them roaming freely, my monitor just went off, and yes, I have one up here for things that I'm going to tell you here in a minute. But you know, your spirits are roaming freely, particularly at this time, particularly around Samhain. The veils are thinner, the walls are thinner between worlds, and you have the bad spirits that like to manipulate energies, people's feelings, or various objects, some of them. And so you need to be safe and secure against spirits. Well, there's a couple of ways you could do this, and you can abide the old traditional Celtic way, which is carving into, in those days, a turnip, and in nowadays, a pumpkin, a very evil or dark face into the pumpkin that would scare away your bad spirits. But I suggest for you to go just a step further there, okay, because I've created a spell work myself where I actually do the pumpkin carve out. Alright, here's how I suggest you create your talisman for protection against dark and negative entities. Now, you know the old traditional way where in the oldest times the Celtic people would carve evil and mean faces into not pumpkins but turnips to scare away bad spirits. Well, use a pumpkin, that's today's method, but when you carve the face into it, don't use a happy smiley face, people, come on. This is Halloween and you want to scare away those bad spirits, so do a mean face into it. Okay, but while you're carving out this pumpkin, talk to it. Tell it what its intentions are. It's a guard, it's a protector of your home, of your family, of your land. And it's to scare everything away that does not belong, that is dark and negative. Talk to it. Tell it this while you are actually carving it out. Give him a name, for God's sakes. Don't make it Jack. That's too regular. That's just not him. You know, the way that you're engraving it with your own hands, you're giving it a character of its own that is offset from all the others that are in the world on that time, okay? Give him a name that really suits him. After you look at him and see what he looks like, give him a name. Be for real with it, okay? And write it on the bottom of it, or just tell everybody in the household what his name is. And then anoint him right in the center of the forehead, like you would a person, with Hadron the Conqueror oil, or patchouli oil, or dragon's blood, or an oil that you feel very strong about for protection. Okay? Anoint it with those types of oils. And then, once you've completed the outward appearance and the scooping out of your pumpkin, then you want to take and you want to create a vessel of salt. Get an entire box of sea salt, okay? And pour it into a dish and take your athame or your wand, or if you don't have either one of those, your finger or a stake from an oak tree, and put its tip down and into the salt and begin a prayer to consecrate, cleanse and purify that salt for protection against dark and negative spirits, and to charge it with the light and the love of the almighty deities that it may protect your home. Okay? Charge it with all that is within you and empower that salt as a holy salt. And then what you're going to do is you're going to pour all of that, the entire box of salt, if it's a pretty big pumpkin, I guess, or if it is a smaller one, maybe half the box. But you want to put about a 1/4 of an inch layer to a 1/2 inch layer across the bottom of your pumpkin of Jack, or whatever his name is. You want to put a layer of this consecrated holy salt across the bottom, creating kind of a floor in it. And then you want to turn like a little dessert dish, about like this, or an ashtray, or some glass dish upside down in it that would be flat on the bottom. And this is to hold your candle, okay? This is so that your candle would be up off the base. Your candle is actually going to be the spirit of Jack, or whatever his name is. And remember, don't use the name Jack, okay? I'm doing it for lack of a better term. But you all know who I'm talking about, though. But put your layer of salt, then put your dish, your dessert dish, or your ashtray, your flat bottom glass dish, upside down in there, and you want to put an orange candle on it, anointed with an empowering oil, saying to yourself, this is the spirit of my protector. This is the light of my land. This is the sign that all that are dark and negative and evil are not welcome. Let it be. Or be creative. Make your own. But anoint this candle. An orange candle is generally a universal protective color of protection throughout different pathways. And that's why I say orange. But if you feel that protection is in a different color for you and for your pathway, then use a different color by all means. But I say orange because it's kind of universal. Anyway, anoint it with the oil that you need. Put it on the upside down dish in the center of your pumpkin on the inside. And then around the bottom, the base of your dish, you're going to put any one of these stones, and I prefer any 3 of them. Okay? If you can get 3. You're going to put any of these stones around the base that protect against bad spirits. And here is your list. Agate. Any agate would do, but especially moss agate or eye agate. Okay, beryl. I'm not sure exactly of that stone. I don't think I've ever really worked with it too much. Blue chalcedony, coral, garnet, Herkimer diamond. I would imagine any diamond would work. Malachite, pyrite, quartz, sapphire, squirrel, also known as black tourmaline, snowflake, obsidian, tiger iron, muggle stone. Tiger iron and muggle stone, I believe, are the same thing. You could likewise use tiger's eye stone. I use it a lot, and it also tells these spirits that you're watching them closely. So it's really good to use in connection with any 2 of the others. Alright? Now, those are your choices. Also, did I say turquoise? Anyway, these are any of the stones that you could use within your talisman that you're creating with your pumpkin. Alright? I suggest that you use any 3 of them, but that you should use 3. Alright? And if you know of any other stones that are good for protecting against bad spirits, then throw those in likewise. Alright, on top of this, you're going to use herbs. Herbs are very important in protections. They always have been. And I've compiled a little list of you for that too, although I really don't have to look at it because there are so many really good protective herbs that you should be able to use on top of your stones that would set this spell work off. Alright, you could use cinnamon, sage, rosemary. You could use tobacco. Tobacco is a good protector. Let's see. Okay, basil. That is a good one. Let me go to my list here. Highjohn, fennel seed, red pepper, hot pepper. Okay, these are things I would use. And I would use as many of them as I could get my hands on. And I would cover the salt really good with a bed of these herbs. Any mixture of them. Sage has always been a good one. Red pepper is really good. Tobacco is really good. Some of them are harder to come by, like Highjohn, the conqueror root. Rosemary is shelf bought. Sulfur powder can be hard to come by, or at least you have to go out of your way to go get it from some kind of a feed barn or something, you know, and some tractor supply stores carry it and stuff like that. But sulfur, but you're best off, easy to find, easy to use herbs are your cinnamon, your sage, your rosemary, tobacco, basil leaf, and fennel seeds and fennel leaves. Okay, so use those. Make a bed of those herbs in the base of your pumpkin on top of your salt and over your stones. And then you're pretty much set. All you have to do then is light up your pumpkin spirit. Now see, you could also take and write a prayer down of protection against dark, negative, or evil spirits on 2 pieces of paper. And you could light one on fire after you've anointed it, holding it directly over the top of your pumpkin after it's caught really good and it's burnt to some degree down. But before it touches your fingers, drop it into the pumpkin itself. It's not going to ignite those herbs. Not big enough to where you're going to lose them, trust me. You know, ignite this prayer over the mouth of your pumpkin while you're thinking about what that prayer was. Carry in your words on air. Let them be heard. Let them be heard is the connotations that's being given here, and moving it from fire and through the moisture of the air, through the air itself. Okay? It is going and it's carrying your words to the higher power through all of the elements it's being given. And it's becoming part of the spirit within that pumpkin as it's going to fall over the candle that's inside, as well as all the other ingredients. And it's becoming part of the spirit of your guardian that you're creating. Okay? And you're keeping one part of that. You're keeping the other written prayer for yourself. And you can actually recite and ignite every night for 3 nights before Samhain, and 4th time on the night of Samhain. The number 4, numerologically speaking, is the number of stability and foundation. And it would set things in stone for you. Okay, on your first night, you may want to burn it for, say, 10 minutes. Putting all your thoughts and ideas into it, telling it who it is and what its job is, what it's supposed to do. Your second night, burn it for 5 minutes and talk to it about what it's supposed to do and thank it for protecting you in the nights ahead. The third night, you want to burn it for about 5 minutes, doing the same thing. And on the night of Samhain, you just light it while you're thinking it, and you don't have to sit there praying into it all night long. You light it and thank it, calling it by name, for being your protector and keeping away all the dark and naughty spirits. And let it go while you enjoy the rest of your night doing your own thing, letting it burn freely. Alright, I have one further spell of protection that's quite a bit different actually. And this one is good for one person or for many. And it's always good to get one group activity going. One group religious practice that everybody can be on board with. And it doesn't take long at all. It's not only a spell work of protection either. It's really also one to help balance everybody out in more ways than one. Now, it will help keep a lot of negative energies down from a bunch of kids within the household wanting to fight or argue, or you and your mate or consort. It also will help you to think logically or levelly when you're going about your business, and it will help all your kids to think very balancedly and logically as they go about their business, and so you don't have to worry about them so much. And so this is a really good one if you can get everybody on board. And if it's only you, then do it anyway. It is good for yourself. This is a mental protection as well as a physical body protection. Alright? Now, what you would want to do is say, alert everybody that you're going to call a meeting and tell them what it's about if you want to. But you want to light an incense like 5-10 minutes before you actually start. That way the scent is really good and throughout the air in the one room you light it in. And it would be sandalwood. Sandalwood is really good for balance and focus. You know, to help everybody think logically, calmly. Okay, so you would light your incense and you would call everybody to meeting. You know, if it's hard to get everybody together, you might want to let them know 10 minutes in advance that you're going to call a meeting and to hang close to the house. Now, when everybody arrives, you want a black candle and you want a vial of anointing oil for empowerment and protection, possibly. And everybody has their own ideas of what oils do that. But if you don't know, I'll give you a few. Use Hyjon, use patchouli, use dragon's blood, some kind of a menthol oil can really actually be good at clarity. And if you want to go more with the clarity proportions on the spell work, you might use that. But there are many different oils for empowerment. Okay, Hadron the Conqueror is the best. Patchouli, Dragon's Blood, all of those are really good. But if you don't have any of those, any anointing oil will do, or you can make an anointing oil out of olive oil and a few light herbs, okay? Just by soaking it overnight, you know, and you would want to do it, of course, in advance. But when you've got everybody at the table, you have a little thing of anointing oil, you have a black candle, you have a sandalwood incense or another good incense for cleansing and balance and focus, okay? And you would have a crystal for each of the people within the family. Preferably a crystal that each and every one of these people feel synonymous with. But you can get a quartz crystal for everybody, okay? Or a tiger's eye stone for everybody. And let everybody use the same stone. Hell, it could even help them all tie in together a lot more stronger if they all have the same stone. But you can use each of their stones that they prefer, or you can use all quartz crystal, all tiger's eye, you know. But a stone for sight, a stone for clarity, a stone for empowerment, any of these options are good. Alright, what you would do is you would lay a stone out in front of each of the participants at your table. And you would have each one of them hold their stone in their hand. And they would each blot a dab of the anointing oil on their stone. And then they would clench it tightly in their fist and they would do a prayer of protection for themselves and balanced mind and focus on their journeys throughout this holiday season. And they would also, in their minds, say a protection for each and every one of the other people at that table in their mind and quietly. Okay? And with all of them doing that, everybody is praying for everybody. Everybody is tying in together and everybody is empowering one another. They're also, with the sandalwood oil going, or the oil for clarity, they are all also stabilizing out as you speak. They're going to carry this stone throughout the rest of the holiday. And that will remind them to, you know, watch their step, to mind what they do. Don't get into trouble, you know, with somebody that could hurt them or hit by a car because they'd be crossing the road doing their trick-or-treat thing and all of that. You know, you want to say at the end a prayer out loud that incorporates the ideas loudly, okay, to do with strangers. Strangers staying away. Don't talk to the people directly, to do with things that could happen and all of that. You should have already done that, you know, before the ceremony, you know, at other times. But talk openly as in a prayer, you know, to convey messages indirectly to the family about keep strangers away from my kids, don't let anyone approach them that could be harmful to them, and not get into any danger as far as cars and traffic is concerned. You know, and you're saying this out loud in a calming atmosphere with the sandalwood going. You're incorporating ideas into your kids' heads. You're tying them in together as in caring for one another. You're mellowing the energy between everybody. And so your whole holiday would get a lot quieter, calmer, and peaceable between everybody within the household likewise. This is just a good idea. And, you know, I mean, take from it, add to it as you wish. Well, this has been Lady Leeanna with another edition of Wicca for today. And I really want to wish you the most blessed Samhain that you could have. I really want to wish you all the protection in the world on this holiday and all the power you can muster up. I really, really do enjoy this holiday, and For those of you who have never practiced Samhain as a pagan, or even as a witch for that matter, then really you're in for quite a treat, as long as you walk into this holiday as who you newly are. Okay? You take care of yourself, and merry part.